Hi guys, welcome back to Shank's channel, and this video is all about launching some new resources using infrastructure as a code service. Not It is nothing but the Terraform. So we haven't covered Terraform topic yet. So I'll start with the basic how you can launch or kick off the EC2 instance creation just to start with, and then in our coming videos we'll cover the integration of other services within Terraform module and basically how you can provision other resources, how you can have multiple environments to deploy your resources in. So these are the things we are going to cover in next videos. For now, EC2 creation is what we are focusing for this video. So before I do that, there are two prerequisites that you should have. First, you should have the Terraform installed on the system. How you can do it, just download it from the official article, the Windows version. If you are on Windows, if you are on Linux, then you just refer that official document for downloading the exe. And we don't really double click to install it, we just define it in the environment variables. I'll show you where you can do it. So this PC, and right click here, properties, and then you will get like this. And here, just a second, in the advanced system settings there is something called environment variables. You come here in the path, double click this, and wherever you keep your downloaded file, just copy the path here and paste it here. Okay, and then okay, and then okay. And if you open the bash, you will get the Terraform version like this. Terraform version, and I have Terraform version like this. So you don't have to really double click and install it. You just need to have this path saved in your environment variables. I'll clear this out for now. Move on to the main files that I have here. All right, so let me walk you through some files. I can cover it for you. So first of all, there are four files I created right before this video: main.terraform, output.tf, tfvars, and variable.tf. So I'll walk you through these four files and we'll provision instances, and rest of the files will be created, and I'll walk you through post creation of EC2 what is Terraform state and what is these files, log, HCL, and then uh, backup. Okay, all right, so let's start with variables.tf. I'll open this up. I'll do the right click, or maybe double click, and open in notepad. So variable file is nothing but the variable that you define here. If you are going to provision any resources in the region, you just define the variable as region here. And here I have written the default is AP South 1. So whatever resources I'm going to provision, the default region it would pick as AP South 1. And here is the AMI ID variable, but I haven't defined the AMI ID here. And I just defined the, wherever you see description, then that means this doesn't have the key. And where are the keys, I'll walk you through in the next file. So these are the variables: instance type, key name, subnet ID. So whatever we require for our EC2 to be provisioned successfully, these variables are defined here. So this is very simple infrastructure as a cloud platform, Terraform. You can use very straightforward. So whatever variables you define here, or whatever prerequisite that you should have before EC2 provisioning, you can define it here. Let's close this out, open the new one, and let me walk you through Terraform vars. So this is where I actually define the, whenever provision refers any variable called AMI ID, it would come here in the TF vars and pick the values of it. So TF vars is nothing but to keep the values of the variables defined in the variables.tf file. Okay. Key name I have defined it here already. I have defined it just to save your time. So VPC, this is the VPC I'm going to provision in. You can uh, go to console, navigate to console. In the VPC section you will get these details. So I have already got these details, AMI ID and all. So these are the values I have put in here. Now let's move on to the next file. Next file is nothing but the output. Output is what you get after the EC2 instance is created. So this output, this is the name of the variable again we have defined, and this is the name of the EC2 instance. We will name it in our main.tf file, right? So from it will refer this instance, it will get instance id, it will get public ip as the output variables. Okay, so let's close this and let's move on to our main.tf. So main.tf has actual resources or the modules. So it's going to provision, it is going to take the provider as AWS. So the very first command when you hit Terraform init, I'll show you, it will pick the provider. If it is Azure, then it will have the modules installed for Azure, and if it is AWS, then it will have the module installed for AWS. So first resource it is creating is tf demo ec2. So this is just a name, and then we have defined what all it contains or what it should contain. So ami equals to, this is the format that you should define in the main.tf file, var.amid instance type, var.instance type. So this is where the variables .tf we have defined. I showed you the very first file, and this is how it should look like. So here vpc security group id I have defined but hasn't created it yet. So this is the second module I have for security group creation. Okay, so whatever I named it here, tf demo sg, I asked EC2 to consider that TF demo SG as a, so Terraform, there is one best thing in the Terraform, it doesn't follow the sequence. It is, if you have listed AWS as a sorry, EC2 as a first resource here, it will not consider the sequence here, like you have defined VPC security group here, so it will fail. No, it will consider every other component defined here, and then it will consolidate it and have the final provisioned infra. Okay, so this is one of the tags I have defined just to show you how you can tag it, how we can map the name or the tag value at the keys. And second resource I have defined here is this is the name of the SG module. So this is that module name. This is you can have another name here like Terraform Web SG. You can name it same way, TF demo SG, hardly matters. So and description, whatever the description we have is basically for two groups, two rules that we have allowed is one port 22 and the source is for all, and one port is 80 and the source is for all, and the protocol we are using is TCP, like you do it on the console itself if you have done it already. Okay, so this is again one of the tags I have defined in the security group creation. So let's not waste much time here. I'm going to save it and move on to, so make sure when you run the first command, you should be in the directory wherever you have saved these files. So just right click, open the git bash here, you will be in the same directory, or just copy the path here, open git bash and paste it here. All right, so let's run the very first command, terraform init. It is going to initialize it, and it has been successfully initialized, and the reason it did not take much time because I have already done it once before this video. So but for you it might take time, so just give it a time to get it completed. Okay, the next command is nothing but, okay, so I forgot to cover one more thing. Since you are interacting with AWS, so IAM keys you should have as a second. The Terraform installation is the first one, and the IAM keys is the second one, right? So IAM keys should be configured prior running this command so that it interacts successfully with your AWS account. Okay, so you just create one user, give the sufficient permission to execute the EC2 and the resources, whatever resources we are going to create, those permissions, and then configure it here using AWS configure. So when you hit AWS configure, it will give you like this access keys. When you hit and when you paste the keys here, it will ask the secret key and the region and then the output format. So I'm going to cancel this out. Okay, I have already run the initialized command. Next command is the Terraform plan command. So we won't run directly apply. We don't apply. We first check what is going to provision next. So when I hit Terraform plan, before I hit Terraform plan, let me delete these uh, things so that you will come to know what exactly they are. I have kept these 4 files which I already explained. So I'm going to run this command and it gave me the error. Reason being because I have deleted it, but I again have to run the initialize command. So let me first again initialize it within the uh, directory. Okay, it's initialized. So whenever it initializes the Terraform, it creates a log file. So log file is nothing but when you or your teammate is working on the same code, then it creates a log so that it may not have an impact on the or may not have the conflict when two persons are working on the same code. So it creates a lock. It won't allow the other one to modify the same code. Okay, so create a lock means this .log.html is the file that you have created, and this is the one of the most important questions you may be asked by the interviewer if you are going to appear in an interview. So Terraform log, how you can remove it. You can either remove it from the command line hyphen force, and or else you come here and just remove this file. So but you should also be interacting with the other developer if he's or she if he or she is working on the same code, so that you both are on the same page. All right, let's now not waste time on the initialize command, move on the second command, plan. So I have taken this file, var file, as terraform vars tf vars file. I have considered it for my Terraform plan command. I could have considered main.tf, and the reason being I did not consider main.tf because I am we don't it's recommended by HashiCorp that you don't directly focus on main.tf file because it considers the content of that file and may have some may there are some errors can be occurred if you prefer that method. However, if you prefer tf vars file, then it considers every other file present in the directory like variables, and so it will pick all the files, refer them if there are requirements to refer the variable files in the in the another file, that it helps us to do so. So whenever we modify anything, we consider to uh, we consider to take the terraform.tf words file for our uh, use case or for our any requirements that we get in the even in the enterprise level. Okay, so let's run the Terraform plan now. Let's see what it says. Okay, so it says, let me go up. So this plan is says that it's going to create the resources. And what are the resources? First, EC2 instance will be created with this name and this AMI ID and this path. You can customize your code to have these options also enabled in your Terraform main.tf. So, and then we have the tags as well. We have the security group as well, right? And when we come here, this is the second module, security group I was talking about. So we are adding the inbound rules here. Okay, and in at last it shows that we are going to add two resources, that means EC2 and a security group, and this is the output we would get. Okay, so instance ID we would get and public IP we would get. We don't have the public IP instance ID at this point because we haven't uh, applied it. So let's say Terraform apply. So if you like to skip the approval, it would ask for the approval. You can skip the approval here by saying auto approve. Yes, but I'm not going to do it. I'll show you in the demonstration manually how you can do it. I'll say yes. Says it started creating SG, and this was the second resource. I told you, right? This that doesn't follow the sequence. It actually follows the what requires uh, the other resource to be created, right? So it considered SG for the creation. It now started creating and see in 3 seconds it's created SG, and in few seconds you'll have the EC2 created. And here we go. So we have created the EC2 instance. The instance ID is this, and the public IP is this. So instance ID is ending with 48B, and public IP is ending with 44.47. Let's go to our console and see. Refresh the file. Refresh the console, and now we have our instance ID ending with 48B, right, and 44.47. Let's move on to the security because this is the second resource we have created, and we now have two inbound rules, 80 and 22, and one outbound rule. It should have all traffic, right? This is what we created in our security group resource. Let's move on to the next tab, tags. All right, so this is one of the tags we have defined in EC2 instance, tf hyphen demo hyphen. So whatever tag I define here, this will pick the name here as well, right? This is the name I have defined there, if you remember. So it's still initializing. If you want me to connect, I can connect, but I don't want to waste time. I'll quickly try to show you how you can delete the instance and the resources you have created so far. Means in one go your EC2 instance as well as your security group will be gone. So just give me a second. Let's wait for it to have 2 by 2. Okay, we have got 2 by 2. So before deleting the instance, let me show you. We have got another file called tf state. So tf state is nothing but the uh, it is a consolidated plan that what you have created. It's like the entire uh, out or the infrastructure that you have recently created, so that whenever you refer it next time, you can consider this file what was created in our previous um, plan, in our previous deployment. So it's basically shows the current state of your infrastructure, which you can use for your future references, right? So it also uses to compare your desired state with whatever the state we have at this point. So you can determine what can be deleted, added, or destroyed like this. So that's the important part of it, Terraform state file, and we prefer to keep it in any of the safe place, uh, like DynamoDB or S3 as a remote backend. We consider it. However, I'm not going to touch base on this because this is something that I'm going to cover in my coming videos. Okay, so how you can keep this Terraform state in the S3 bucket. This would be the next task for us. So I hope you enjoyed it. But before I wrap up this session, let me show you how you can destroy it. So when you hit apply, now we'll hit destroy. So it started looking, it's asking for me approval. So this was the plan. You can run the plan, but since we haven't made any change, so I directly ran the destroy. But it is recommended in the enterprise level that you first run the plan if you are modifying something, so that mistakenly if you are deleting something, you can prevent that deletion. Okay, so all right, destroy completed. Let's come here, refresh this. It's terminated. Security group, you won't find any security group rules here. It's gone. Not even the security group. If I click the security group, see, does not exist because it's deleted. Okay, so that's how you can provision simple EC2 creation with Terraform. I hope you enjoyed the video. Keep watching Shankars. Thanks. Bye bye.